I mean, yes, clearly, obviously, all things are just waves of particulates rushing through time. I get that, but there is something very sweet about having success in your life. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What makes a human body beautiful is the way that the congruence of all these separate parts that come together to create an individual, and that's where the beauty comes from. If you remove anything from that, it's no longer beautiful. Now I'm going to paraphrase here, but the only thing that remains when you die is the state of consciousness, is your state of consciousness as you expire. Your state of consciousness is what is the momentum that pushes you into whatever your next incarnation is going to be, or whatever the next place, the particular energy that you would call your soul, how that is going to manifest in the next place, or the moment after death, or the way the wave keeps rolling is where your energetic or state is when you die. So if you're in a state of fear, anger, or freaking out, then that's the wave that rolls into the future. And if you're in a state of calm, letting go, equanimity, and peacefulness, and that's the kind of vibe that's going to go rolling into the future. Meditation is often called the preparation for death, so that when death comes, which it will come for all of us, and all the things that go along with death are happening, which is you won't be able to breathe as well. Your body is more than likely going to be in a lot of pain. You're going to be experiencing a lot of emotional energy, which is going to be good and bad, and all these things are going to happen at the same time. It's of life as we sail through the waters of time. We know that there's this cape that we're going to have to steer our ship around, and that's the cape of death. And we don't know what's around the other side, but we do know that probably the very same principles that apply to sailing in rough waters are going to apply to that moment when we move out of our identification with this body. And so that means if we can keep a clear head, if we can stay calm, and if we have had practice in navigating through these waters, then when this moment happens, we're going to be able to, it'll be a piece of cake.
Well, that's what, doing these medicine journeys has done for me, is because it really pushes you past that point, particularly ayahuasca. I mean, you feel like you're past the point of your death. You accept it, you move on, and you're in that place. It looks like your death. Something also like Vilca, which was the snorted DMT, 5-MeO-DMT, NN-DMT, and bufotenine. And you snort it, both nostrils full of this ancient powder that the Chavin people used to do. And it takes you to the point where your body's gone. I mean, you feel like you're in that realm. And it's so peaceful there and so beautiful that it eradicates the fear once you accept that you're gone. And I think that practice is something that is incredibly valuable, because we all carry this burden of fear of what that might be. Yeah. And either through meditation or through whatever practice you can get to go through that is amazing.
And what I'm really interested in right now is getting to that state minus the psychedelic. And is it possible? I think it is. And how do we do that?
I describe it to people, you can meditate, but unless you know where you're going, it's like you're wandering aimlessly in the woods and you don't know when you've arrived and you don't know what you're looking for.
That's right. I think it's a wonder. All is permissible if your intention is to wake up, because if you can wake up and you can reduce your own suffering and fear, or transform your suffering and fear, then what's going to happen is the ripples that you're sending out in every moment are going to reduce the fear of people around you, and that's beneficial to the planet. And the planet, like any other organism, wants to be healthy, and so it's going to back you up in that pursuit.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And so any way that as long as the intention behind it is, I want to ease the suffering of people on this planet, as long as that's the intention behind it, and you're one of the people on the planet, So start with yourself. I want to ease my own suffering. Then you're going to find a lot of allies spring up out of the blue that are very happy about the fact that you've gotten to this place, almost as though your entire life was to reach that place. And all these people just come out of the woodwork like your tutors or your teachers that have been assigned to you by some very loving, super intelligent force that is really excited about you waking up. It's really cool. And psychedelics are one way to get there. I'm really into Buddhism right now, man. It's so badass. I'm getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it because it is, for me, my experience with psychedelics has always been blast off in the highest places I've ever been on, like on LSD in particular, MEO DMT, also DMT. What happens for me is I'm shown a thing and a thing talks to me and I get the very same feeling that I had when I was a little kid and would wander into a party my parents were having. Like they put you to bed, but then they have a party and you come downstairs and everybody's excited to see you, but they also know you're not supposed to be there. For a second, they're like, "Ah, look at you!" Oh, and they say things and they're doing things and there's all this stuff going on there that you recognize as being really cool and beautiful, but maybe you can't translate it so well. So for me, when I start reading some of the Buddhist literature I'm reading, this book Mindfulness by Joseph Goldstein, and some books by Pema Chodron, and I see a really beautiful analysis of those states of consciousness, a really beautiful framework to look at it through so that I can carry those moments into my everyday life. It's really exciting to me. And
it's exciting to me too, and that's one of the things that I enjoy talking to you so much about, is because we've both been on these parallel paths, mine being firsthand experience where I'm learning these things from the ether, from the source, if you will, and trying to translate them and figure them out. And you're like, oh yeah, that's what's been in a book for 2,000 years. You'd have bothered to read it, but I couldn't just read it. For me, the way my personality is, I had to go find it for myself. But drawing those parallels back to tradition is beautiful. And I love hearing that. And that's one of the reasons I love talking to you so much about it, is because I can tell you one of my experiences and you say, oh yeah, that reminds me of this concept, and that's elucidated, to stand the tests of time in that beautiful way that Buddhism can do.
Your experience of ayahuasca, I keep reading things. The last experience that we've talked about, the entering into that complete nullification or void, I was just reading about that and how Buddhism is sort of the basis of the thing is that in every single moment, most people are experiencing either attraction or aversion. That's what people are experiencing. They're experiencing wanting to be somewhere else because they are longing for the pleasure of that place, or wanting to be somewhere else because they don't like the pain that they are experiencing in the place that they currently are.
Some kind of push or pull, or both.
Or both. So generally you'll find yourself being in one great moment. Another thing I like about Buddhism is all the moments that you formerly thought were awful, or times when terrible things are happening to you in Buddhism, they're like, no, these are the moments for you to like work. These are like the next time you find yourself in a state of boredom.
Yeah.
And you're just bored, which is like the horror of all children. I'm bored. I don't like it here. Boredom. So boredom equals, in Buddhism, boredom equals aversion. It's aversion. You are feeling bored because you don't want to be where you're at that very moment. You want to get out of there.